So this is my home office setup that I have set up for my work purpose when I'm working from home. And it's come to a point where I'm basically using my second PC that I built for my children for gaming mainly, which is a slightly older motherboard with 16 gig hard drive. I'll show you where it is. It's just literally stored at the bottom here. It's very compact. That's why I like it. It's very quiet. The airflow is brilliant. It's the Cougar case, and it does the job. But in effect, what I've noticed is with the older i5 4400 processor with a 1650 graphics card with a 4 gig of RAM, it's sufficient enough to do my work for work purpose. Unfortunately, the boys are complaining the frame rates and stuff's not as good, blah blah blah, and I'm waiting for a graphics card to get hold of, but it's very expensive. So my plan now is to future-proof this system slightly more. I'm actually moving away from the old Pentium motherboard. I think this one was Z171 or something motherboard, which is a really good motherboard for its time. It's the ITX motherboard, but I'm going to move away from that to the Ryzen 2700X. So that's what I'm going to go for next. A Ryzen 7 24/7, I think, or something like that. That one, my old chip that I used for my other PC. I'm going to put this one in there, and I bought myself a new motherboard, B550i motherboard. I'll open that up. But right now, my main feature of my workstation here is the new TV that I put on there. I'm using my TV, 43-inch TV, AU9000 model Samsung TV as my monitor, and I'll do a review of that fully next time when I've used it properly. And so far it's turning out to be a very good purchase for how much I bought it for. I'll go through the details of my next review when I do of the TV and how it is to use a TV for work purpose or pleasure or whatever, and I'll go through that later on. But for now, I'm going to go through an upgrade, and I'm going to go through the whole process of upgrading this machine, and then we'll take it from there. Right, now that I'm moving over to Ryzen CPU, I had to purchase a AMD motherboard, and the main thing that I've been waiting for a long time was the price to go down. I've been looking at Amazon and all the sites that I could think of on the internet, and I was after the B550i motherboard. And luckily for me, on just about Black Friday times, before that actually, the price of this motherboard went down from, it was initially about 138 when I looked at it. Oh, that's still quite a lot of money. Then it sort of jumped up to £150, and then it went up to £170, and at one point though it came down to £136. I thought, you know what, I might as well buy it, so I bought it. And as soon as I bought it, I've straight away I looked at it again, and the price went down to £122. So the price went down to £122, and I quickly cancelled my order on Amazon and purchased it for £122. That was a very unusual buy. But anyway, I thought I'd tell the story behind it, because £120 is a good price for what it is. And I've been after this particular motherboard because of the price, mainly, and for the size, of course, because I wanted an ITX motherboard. I don't want to change my case at all. So the reason for me to go for this is you'll fit my old Ryzen 7 2 series, actually 2700X, which does the job more than enough, though I need it for gaming, should be fine. And this is the motherboard that I wanted to go with because of the future proofing. Now my graphics card is not the best, so this is just a quick unboxing and story behind it. So this is the motherboard, still wrapped in its original packaging. It's a brand new motherboard. It came from Europe somewhere instead of the local Amazon, and I haven't opened it fully yet. But what I'll do, I'll open this up first to show you. Let's close this down a bit, and I'll show you what's inside the box itself. I'm afraid it's going to be a long video because it is an upgrade and it does take a long time, and I'll go through the process of what I'm going to do to get this done. Here it comes. Alright, the unveiling of this motherboard. This is it. It is a very small, compact motherboard. I love the features on this. and everything that you need for the price that it is. I know I could have spent £200 or more, but this will do more than sufficient for anybody. Actually, to be honest, this is probably more than what I need for my home office and a bit of gaming purpose. So as you can see, it's just what it is, and you can go through this specification on the website and stuff, but this will do the job. This will go onto my ITX case that I've shown you earlier on. I'll be ripping that one apart, keeping most of the stuff apart from the old motherboard will go with a new CPU, well, my second-hand new CPU that I had in the past. I'll put that one in here, and the rest of the stuff should stay the same. So I wouldn't have to do too much work, to be honest, and I'm hoping by just keeping the old SSD there, I've got old M.2 500 gig hard drive, and if I put it onto here, it should start up immediately. I'm hoping that will be the case. If not, I might have to redo the whole thing from scratch. But anyway, so I've unboxed this bit quickly for you, and I'll show you what comes in the box. I'm surprised to see the box isn't sort of sellotape to show that it hasn't been opened before, but it does look like a new product. Sometimes you get confusion from Amazon. You don't know if it's the warehouse deal or not. I mean, it does say it, but this is not a warehouse. It's a brand new. That's why I'm very chuffed about this. So it comes with an antenna that you need for Wi-Fi. A few more RGB leads. Okay, that's fine. And then more of this. Yeah, more of the RGB stuff. I think I can't tell what this is, but then you've got your pin. Oh, sorry, you've got your screw for the M.2, and inside this here, they also give you some SATA cable, which is quite good. A couple of those small ones, I might use those. And then it leaves me with a CD, which I don't have a CD drive for. They're still giving these out nowadays, eh? I'll just give a USB stick instead. But anyway, it's all there. Probably be out of date, the BIOS. That needs to be updated as soon as I put it on. But there you go, that's the unboxing of it. The unveiling. Now let's get on with the full installation of this. I'm going to put it back in there nicely. Oh, I didn't show you the other side of it, but we should want to see. So it does have quite good stuff on here. It's got the 2 HDMI for some reason, display port, 3 USB 2, 1 BIOS, one for USB 3. You've got the type USB Type C, and you've got the USB 3.2 as well, which is brilliant. And you've got the antenna for your Wi-Fi, and a few of the mic and line in, line out, and you've got the, you know, the usual connection for your internet. So hardwired is fine. That's what I'm going for, and it is a beautiful, very compact. In the future, all these top-notch motherboards that you'll see will probably turn into small ones like these. Anyway, till then, I have to make do with this one. Alright, let's get the building started. So what do I need? So I've got my motherboard, as you can see. Now this is a Ryzen. This is not the Ryzen 500C because I've already used that for my main PC. This is a Ryzen 2700X. So if I can get this out from there. So this is the Ryzen 2700X. If you can probably just about see it on there. It will do the job. The pins are all fine because I kept it in pristine condition. This is my last one that I had, and that will go straight into there. And that's the first start. With it, the only complication that I have is the water cooling that I've got on my last PC. Now the water cooling that I had on there had the Intel version of it, so I've got to get that changed to, this is the Intel one that I had on there before, I think. But this is the AMD version, so this is the AMD version that's going to go on there. That's the only thing I need to change to put my water cooler on there. And I'm hoping it should just literally fit in as it did with the Intel motherboard with the AMD motherboard. I'm hoping that's it. So that's my starting point. So let's get cracking. So this is my ITX computer for my work purpose, and I'm going to take this apart, and I'm actually dreading doing this, to be honest with you. It's such a fiddly thing to do, but I need it done, so I'm going to get done. One amazing modification that I've done is basically I put a fan outside here because I couldn't put it inside because there's not enough space. I had to put it outside which extracts the hot air from the case itself. And you know what, the cooling wise, this is probably the best case I've had. I know there are other fancy cases out there smaller than this and all that, but this one does have the full size full size PSU, the power supply. I didn't go for the SFX version at all, and it all fits in just perfect. And I'll show you what it looks like inside, and I'm going to take this apart. So first thing I'm going to do is take all the antennas out, because when doing this, it's going to take me a while to get everything set up. So all I need to do now is undo this. Alright, the bit that I could not show you was when I turned the computer on, it said it's preparing the BIOS or whatever, it's been reset. So I went into the BIOS, changed the XMP to profile 1, that's the only option it gives me, and you can see motherboard showing up perfectly fine, frequencies, everything is alright, temperature looking good, everything else looks to be okay. And the best bit was I did not have to reinstall basically the Windows, because it was already on there from the last machine, which was an Intel. So I basically moved from Intel to AMD, and with the same Microsoft Windows is still on there. So Windows Boot Manager is there, so it's working from the right hard drive. Everything else seems to be fine. So I'm just going to save and exit. Are you sure? Yes. Only thing I wanted to do was to update the BIOS. So where I'm going to do this is slightly different. I'm going to go to their website, download the latest BIOS and just bung it on and let's see what happens. And hopefully it'll sort any other problems out, and then we can go from there. So my main reason for upgrading was to make sure I've got a future-proof system, which now it is. It's got the best one I can afford. Motherboard, graphics card is the only downside to it, but you know, you'll do the job for my work purpose. The rest is basically up to see. I'll have to see what comes up next. Start this on, so I'm just going to put the password in, and there we go. So we are ready on my big screen. My office room is all set up to go for my work. Come on, here we go. That's my Windows. It's all looking good. So I'm just going to download now. Okay, so it says here remote procedure has been failed. Display mode, okay, fine. Just press OK to that. Yeah, I know that everything's going to be failing because there's quite a few software that's probably on there that's according to, you know, it's more to do with the Intel than AMD, but I'm just going to have to check all the updates that needs to be done and we'll take it from there. So the next thing to do is to get updates done, get the BIOS update done first before I do any other update, and hopefully that should resolve any other problems. Now what I'm doing right now is checking what update I need to do. I mean, there's quite a few stuff to download, I'm afraid, but you just need to go through with it. That's the latest version. So I've done the chipset, LEN, not Windows 10, Note, oh not Note, Windows 10, okay, supported, okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm just going for the latest one that they've got out and just see. I don't need that AMD rate, I don't really need that at all. Intel Wi-Fi driver, I might as well get that as well. So I'm just saving them all into one place. Intel Bluetooth, Wi-Fi driver, not Windows, Note, Windows 10 version supported. Okay, this is interesting. I think I'll go that as well. BIOS I've just done. Utility, now this is where it gets complicated because I don't know what to download here. Supports Windows 11, no, I don't need that because I've got Windows 10. PP Center, I don't know what that is. Support by very model. Okay, first before install the PP Center, I've got to do all this. You know what? I'm just going to leave things as it is now because from what I can see, the system's working fine. It started off fine, so I'm not going to worry about like game boost and all this stuff. I mean, they're a bit old. 2020, that's 2021. Because the BIOS is quite up to date, I'm assuming everything else should be up to date. Hopefully, if there's any problem occurs, I'll look for it then to see if anything to update. But for now, I'm just getting the sound card and stuff updated. Oh, so okay, so let's close everything off for now. So I think I've got everything I need. Let's go to system and see what's going on. Control panel. So it is a Ryzen 2700X. So it's a Ryzen 7 2700X, 3.7 GHz, 16 gig hard drive. It's got all the details on there that I need for my machine to work. So it's all working fine. Close everything off. Check for an update as well. Let's see if there's any updates. Downloading some updates. I'm not going to go to Windows 11 for some time until they all sort all the bugs out. Oh, there's quite a few downloads here. Media, antivirus. Okay, let that do that. And also now, what's this optional update? I'll just download. I tend to keep all the updates up to date, I suppose. Alright, so now let's open up the GeForce Experience. Just want to mention a few things to you. These are the games that I have currently at play, and one thing I have noticed is the most demanding game that I have is the Gears 5. And the reason I say this is if I was to play this on my other machine with a 3070 Founders Edition graphics card with the most optimal setting, which is about there, with a 1440p, that's what my monitor handles in my other room. So if it's about there, the CPU will heat up to about very high, I think it's about 70-80 degrees. A GPU will be the same as well. So this game does use up a lot of resources if you put it to optimal setting. But on this machine, I've got the 1650 GTX 1650 card, which doesn't even have a power supply, and the optimal setting is about there, and that's the gameplay I'm going to show you on 1080p. And you can see at the bottom it tells you roughly what the settings on. So it's 1080p setting, and the settings as it is on there, that's what I'll keep it to. And I'll show you the gameplay and you can see how it looks. And if you can do about 60 frames per second, it'll be much better. But if you know, my other card, as I said, does 160 frames per second, which is a big difference. But for light gameplay and mainly for work, if you can cope with doing about 60 frames per second on this game, that means all the other games I have should run perfectly fine, and I wouldn't have any problem at all. So this is the game that I'm testing on, as I know this is the most demanding game that I have, that kills a lot of resources on my other machine. So if I can run it to the optimal setting according to NVIDIA, all the other games should be fine. Let's look at the gameplay now. So there you go. You can see straight away. That it's doing about 60 frames per second. It's not taking up that much resources, and the temperature, to be honest with you, was perfectly fine. It's keeping to way below 60. The case itself is very open aired case, so it's doing perfect job for what I need it for. And I'm very happy with the fact that the game that I'm playing right now, as I said, is very demanding on my other machine when I put it to everything to optimal. But this is doing a 60 frames per second. Graphics is not the best, but for light gaming it's perfect, and especially for my work purpose I can't see anything wrong with it, so it will do the job I need it to do. Overall, moving over to AMD, what difference did it make? To be honest with you, it's not that much, but as I said, it's more future proofing than anything else. As I said, the gaming will be a bit better now with the new motherboard. What I'll do next is, if I can get hold of a good graphics card, I'll probably get that put on. But that'll be in a long time later, because where it is now, I can't get hold of anything for a good price. So far, I'm very happy with the fact that this is working really well. I'm moving over from Intel to AMD. And my advice is to you guys, when you're doing this, make sure you take out all the Intel softwares that you might have that only use for Intel. Do that first, and then move over to the AMD. Overall, the gameplay is good, so I'm going to keep things as it is. BIOS is all fine, all my setup is okay, so happy working and happy gaming, I suppose. So we'll leave it to that. If you have any questions, do ask. I'll show you the problems I have. And also with my new TV, you may have noticed that it's still got the wrapping bit of it on the front of the screen. I'll take that off soon and do a video of how well does this big monitor work for me, and I'll give you all the pros and cons to that as well. We're all done. My machine's working, so thank you for watching, and hope it helps you to understand a few things. Machine will restart. I have got some glitches to sort out. If you are moving from Intel to AMD, it's your preference at the end of the day. But if I've already had the Windows installed on my previous Intel, which I used the same hard drive for this, it will cause some problems in terms of certain things that's going to be on. For example, I'll show you quickly on here. Oh, come on, let's put this out of the way. Straight away, you've got this little thing here. It's called Intel Driver Support Assistant. 2 updates available, but this is not an Intel machine, so it's looking for those. So I have to get rid of those things. So anyway, so when this is all done, it should be working fine. And the next thing I'll do is my work office monitor that I'm using, which is my TV. I'll do a review of that, and hopefully they'll give you a better understanding of is it worth having a bigger monitor or not. Take care, and hope to see you soon.